Okay, so this is now the inside of our corset, and as you can see we have tacked in the inside hip panels, or hip pads even, okay, you see that? It's all nicely tacked in. Obviously you want to do this in the same colour material as your corset, the inside of your corset, and also we've done this very quickly, so we've just used quite large stitches, but this is going to be a finishing thing, so you have to make sure these are very fine all the way along, so it's going to take you a little while to do this, okay? All the way around, which is wonderful. Which means now you can, let's just turn this all the way around. I mean, this side the pins were even taken out, which is wonderful, and this side, literally all you want to do now is just go along and take out the ones from this side. You know, because you'll have your nice material on top, just do this carefully. We haven't got our nice material on top, this is just toile, so as I keep saying. So I'm just going to do this really quickly. Just take these out, and that's fine. Okay, and we're almost finished. And we can take all these out as well, these don't really matter anymore. Okay, and so now what we're going to do is we're going to do exactly the same thing as we did with this top edge, or with all the way around the corset. We're going to get our bias binding, and we're basically going to stitch these two together. However, first of all, we want to make sure that these two match up beautifully, okay? And there might be a little bit of discrepancy when it comes to it, depending on how neat you've been or how careful you've been with your pattern pieces, okay? So possibly the idea is to just see where it naturally falls, okay? And then basically pin this together, and then start to use your bias binding and stitch all the way along exactly the same as this, and we'll show you the finished result of that in a minute, and then we will be done, finished, completed. Yeah. Okay, so now we've pinned this all the way around, we now want to start putting our bias binding on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the very base of the crotch. The reason why is because we have to have, in other words, this is a round circle, it doesn't just finish anywhere, so these 2 points have to meet up again. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our bias binding, we're going to fold open that edge like we did last time, and we're also just going to fold over that tip by about 1 centimetre, okay? So it looks like that. Yeah? And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to place this at the very bottom of our corset, just literally because this is the crotch panel, so it's unseen, it's out of the way, okay? I'm just going to take out that pin that we put in before, and I'm just going to pin that in there, okay? Now we've done this before, where are the pins? Oh, would you pass the pins? Okay, so we're just going to take our pins, and literally now every inch we're just going to pin in here, okay, all the way along, and if we have one already in, we're just going to take that one out and then pin that one in as well, and just make sure it lines up with your edge of your corset, okay, go all the way along. And what this is doing is this is eventually going to secure our pads in that kind of space. In other words, they won't be allowed, you won't be able to get them out anymore, unless of course you take this off. Just going to go around and pin the whole thing. Lovely. And we'll come back to how we finish this bit off in a minute once we've pinned all round here, okay? Okay, so now we have pinned our bias binding to each of the leg holes, which is wonderful. Also, I just want to show you this, when you come back to this point here, okay, you want to make sure, well, you want to try and get these two to match up. So let's just move this slightly down. If you see that, and just rolling this until it meets that point, so they're both folded, you see that? They're both folded, which is lovely. And then just put your pin in about, well, put your pin in about there, I guess. That's fine. And what we're going to do now is we're going to get a needle and thread, and we're just literally going to slip stitch this together. So, and I'll show you what a slip stitch is in a minute. And this is just like, it's like a tacking method. Just so that what we do is we can then unpin this little area here, stitch that properly, pull out the tacking thread, and then we've got this beautiful continuous kind of line that goes around. Okay, so I'm just going to slip stitch this. Now all I need is one thread, so you see how I haven't knotted it, I've just literally pulled it through and just left it, okay? Just like that, lovely. Okay, and slip stitch is very simple. I start at one end, I'm just going to literally go in through here, and we're going to remove this, okay, so don't worry too much. Just going to pull this through here like that, there we go. I'm just going to make, not a knot, but I'm just going to sew this a few times. get off. So that joins that nicely. And then literally you're going to go through, and at about 2mm I'm going to pull my needle out, then go into the other side, about here, and then go out. And at this point I'm just going to pull my needle through. Lovely. I'm going to go on exactly the same side, or sorry, exactly the same point, but on the other side. Do the same again, come out. Oops, pick that up. That doesn't work very well. Just be very careful when you do this. You can actually do this as a finishing thread. I mean, you don't necessarily have to stitch this, it's just a bit more secure. Pull that through.